Well, hello, Bill.
Hey Don, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Hope you're doing good today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Another
Yes.
beautiful day in Salty.
So I'll tell you, hey, Buster, how are you?
Staying cool with this nice little breeze we
Yeah,
got
it feels
going.
a lot better, doesn't it? We've been out here all day, and earlier it was warm.
When I pulled up in the parking lot, y'all had a good little jam going. I actually saw you playing that dobro.
We did, and greatly
It sounded so good today, yeah.
to many thanks to our guest here, Chris Powell, who has a cabin here in the area and lives a little south of here. We'll let him talk about that. But he came in last weekend, and he heard about the music and that we got together and did some picking on the weekends. And he's close enough by. He came and joined us today. I think he was the first one here besides me, and he's been out here several hours playing and singing and doing a wonderful job. So, Chris, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
we
welcome.
appreciate
Thanks
you
for
being
having me.
here. Yeah, yeah.
It's such an honor to be here and jam with you guys and to hear the history of the Sawtee General Store and all that kind of stuff. It's really neat. So I really enjoy it.
Well, first things first, you mentioned you've got a cabin up here, so I'm assuming that's a second home type thing.
It's actually my parents' house.
Uh-oh.
It's on the Soquee River.
Oh,
So my dad passed away back in March, and my mom still lives on the river there. She's recovering from surgery, so my wife and I have been living up here to help her recover. We do spend a lot of time up here. And I think eventually we'll probably move up this way. You know.
we welcome you with open arms.
Thank you. Well, I love it. I get a chance to be immersed in a lot of the things that just the peace and quiet, the beauty of the mountains, the love of Appalachian music and customs. It's a wonderful thing, and it was just by chance I came in and Don offered me some cider, and I've been trying to swear off of all the carbs and sugar. So I said, no, I said, I won't take any cider, but I said, what you playing there? And he showed me the Yamaha, and we started to talking, and before we knew it, I was playing the Yamaha. He pulled that Dobro out, and he said, okay, why don't you come up next Saturday? So here I am, and I enjoyed playing. It was quite a crowd here. I'm a member of the Southeastern Bluegrass Association. Been that probably 5 years or so. But I used to go around and play sit-ins. And I love doing that. And I played in Clarksville, but the music store closed down there. And I kind of, between that and COVID and people kind of moving away, I got away from it. And I've just been really hoping and praying for this opportunity to come back. And well, here we are. And so I'm very happy and very honored to be a part of it.
Well, speaking of bluegrass sit-ins, they do one up here in Saltee every January. So if you kind of, like you were saying, move up here and kind of ingratiate yourself into the community, you might get to go to that private picking party they do in January.
I'd be honored.
And great players there.
I live just about 5 miles away from this little selfish plug, the Everett's Music Barn, which is a very popular, very famous place down in Swanee. It's got a deep, rich history of bluegrass, and you have a lot of good bands from all over the country that come and play there. That's another great place to kind of go and
Now,
enjoy.
I heard you mention before we went on air that you grew up a military brat.
Yes, sir.
So I'm assuming you've been everywhere, man.
Actually, my father got out of the military just after, I guess I was 1 or 2, and we moved to Dallas. And he worked for Texas Instruments for NASA. They were building the ignition systems for the Saturn rockets. So he worked on the assembly lines, and that's where my mother met. And then,
Now, how did you end up in Georgia?
Well, when I was saying I was in the Navy from 1980 to 84, and when I got out of the Navy, I couldn't keep work in New Orleans, and so I moved to Atlanta, went to school, became a machinist, and I worked for a company called Prince Industries, and we make grinding machines that grind chicken
Oh.
and processes different meats. and stuff. So I'm a machinist, and I make big grinding machines.
That
And
sounds
that's
like
what we
fun
do.
work.
Oh yeah, and that's in Murrayville.
Mm.
So thank you for letting me plug my company.
Hey, anytime.
But they're very supportive. There's a lot of folks there, a couple of people that are musicians. So we all have a kind of a kindred spirit and have a lot of fun. It's a good place to work.
Now, did the love of bluegrass music, was it always there, or did it become prevalent once you got down here in the South?
I think when I was probably like in the first grade, I was introduced to the Grateful Dead from an uncle, and I liked it because he was an artist and he would paint all kinds of stuff. Now I don't know why he was painting it. He was a deadhead, you know. So, but he was just a wonderful artist, and he would paint like Grateful Dead art stuff all over his walls and the house, and murals and all that kind of stuff. Very talented. But I remember hearing the bluegrass music, and my parents watched Hee Haw when I was a kid. We were always watching Hee Haw, and you know they had the picking and the grinning. So I always had kind of an ear for it, but I always liked that rock and roll kind of. You know, I was.
You're a young man.
Oh yeah, I was a young kid, and but I always had the appreciation for bluegrass. You know, it's old Appalachian custom, and when I see it, it makes my heart feel good. It makes me feel good. I think the people that were here enjoying us today, I mean, they were out there singing. Just like I said before, it's like people cheering in the stands. You know, when people come and they sing the songs with you and they love coming and joining in, that's what it's all about. It's a lot of people back in the Depression, just after the Depression, they didn't have money to buy food. And I heard on one of the documentaries I watched about bluegrass that sometimes they played music to take their minds off their empty tummies. So, but this is the area where bluegrass music, you know, comes from. Of course, Bill Monroe, you know, is the grandfather of bluegrass. But Jerry Garcia played a lot. I mean, him and the band, they always played a lot of bluegrass stuff. They did it in their shows.
From what I've read about the Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia, he was a little bit more into bluegrass initially coming into music, and rock and roll kind of came second.
Yeah, I think that they were just really exploring all kinds, because you know their genre crosses such a great, and I mean even kids today. I mean I'm 60, and I mean my kids like the Grateful Dead, and I'm sure that their kids will probably like the Grateful Dead, because it's just a tradition. We all like the music. The music's happy. It's music you can put on, and they talk about happy things. I mean, if you don't listen to the songs like "Broke Down Palace," but it's a wonderful thing. I love bluegrass music. I love playing with people and meeting people. They're some of the greatest people you ever know. And when you sit down and you play music with something, you play music with people, you build this kindred, this brotherhood and sisterhood of people who like to get together, enjoy the same things. And the thing is this is the perfect setting. We've got this beautiful general store here that's been here for over 100 years. And we've got, you know, we're playing the music. People come in. I mean, we had a lot of people that were coming, and they were just in awe of just watching people sit around and play music. So I really enjoyed it today. Today was a lot of fun.
Well, for what it's worth, I was thoroughly impressed when I rolled into the parking lot, because I thought y'all had a nice little three-piece going, and you were a heck of a singer.
Thank you.
Doing a great Tom Petty
Thank
cover.
you. Thanks. Well, I like Tom Petty. As a matter of fact, I was the last DJ in May on Tom Petty radio on XM.
Oh.
So I actually did a spot on the radio on XM.
You got any contacts or something you'd like to pass my way?
Actually, a friend of mine, one of the musician friends of mine at work, turned me on to it and gave me an email address, and I sent the email, and about 3 months later they said, "Hey, you want to be on the show?" So and of course I wrote a little history of what these different songs meant to me. Two of them meant a lot to me as far as my family. There's one of the first songs that I played is called "Room at the Top," and "Room at the Top," Tom Petty wrote that at a time in his life where he was he had divorced from his wife. He had some drug issues, so he wrote this, and he wrote it with this kind of pick yourself up by the bootstrap gravitas that really ends in a positive note, and I think it's just great. And he was just one of the most, a guy that quit high school, said, "Mom and Dad, I'm quitting high school," and he became one of the most iconic rock stars
Yes.
of our time. And God bless him. I love playing his music. I like just his personality and the things that he did. When he was
For as big as he was, he seemed to have a pretty down to earth attitude.
I think he was.
Just in the interviews and video footage of him that I've seen on YouTube and VH1 and stuff, he seemed, for a world famous rock star, fairly down to earth.
And he has just these beautiful quotes and this beautiful insight that he was able to put in his music. And that's the thing that I admire as a songwriter myself. It's the thing that I admire about music is when people, after all, music is, when we get a muse, that means that we're inspired by something. So there's a cliche, or there's a quote. Tom was great at quotes. One of my favorite Tom Petty quotes is, "A lot of the things I worried about never really mattered anyways." And he said a lot of things and did a lot of things, and he brought a lot to the music world. Much like, we're all simple folk up here. We just like sitting around and playing music and eating good food.
Yes.
And going and having ice cream at the general store, and just generally just being neighborly. And I think that one of the things, and music has the ability to span over cultures, over differences. Everybody can appreciate it. Everybody can. And the thing is, when we all come together with music, there's like I said, there's a brotherhood, a sisterhood that kind of resonates with that. So it's a lot of fun, and it's just so much fun.
Now, I'm looking right now at, what is that? Does that say Gibson up on the top?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Wow.
so nice little Gibson acoustic
Thank you.
guitar.
It's beautiful.
How
Yeah.
old is it?
Well, it's a 1944 Gibson J35. It was my grandfather's guitar. Colonel Will Todd, who was a bomber pilot in World War II in Korea. That plane flew in the plane with him. That guitar flew in the planes with him as he was fighting in combat. And it survived all that. And he always carried it with him because he said, "Well, if I ever got shot down, I know that the Nazis liked music. So I figured that I had half of a chance of staying alive if I got put in a POW camp." But that never happened. He did get shot down, but they got him out. But anyways, yeah, so when he passed, my parents passed it on to me. And it's beautiful. I've got several guitars, and it's a great guitar to play. It's got a really pretty sound to it. And it's 80 years old. It's an old man. I call it the old man. And whenever I play it, whenever I come to do a bluegrass sit, which he would love, because he used to always kid me that I didn't do it enough. But to honor him, I wear his, this is what they call a ruptured duck ring. And this ring was given to him for honorable service in World War II.
Now, Chris is showing me a ring on his right hand. It's on his pinky. It looks, what is that? That's an eagle,
Yeah,
right?
they call it a ruptured duck because it didn't really look like an eagle. It looks.
And then it's got some text underneath the
it says
eagle.
honorable discharge.
Discharge?
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
So he
Don't
and
need glasses
my
quite
father
yet.
and myself and my son is a ranger in the Army. He's actually a
Certified
yes, yeah,
bad A.
four combat tours in Afghanistan. So he's and a big shout out to all the veterans out there. Veterans mean a lot to us. Shout
I
out
am
to
impressed
Camp
by the dichotomy of your existence. You come from a long line of, you come from a military family. You're a military man yourself, yet you got one of the loudest Grateful Dead T-shirts I've ever.
I love music. And I especially like the Dead. I'm just amazed. I've seen the Dead and Company, both tours that just recently came, like 4 years ago and then last year. And I'm telling you, it just amazes me that I still see. I mean, they pack out shows. They pack out Lakewood. Like, I've been to many concerts out there, never seen it packed like it is when the Grateful Dead or Dead and Company shows up. So, but thank you very much. Yeah. Well, I mean, I span a lot. I like all kinds of music. I like all kinds of genres. I can appreciate all kinds of music. And
What was the first group or artist that you got into as a teenager?
actually, that's a good story. My first record that my mom bought me when I was in first grade, she bought it for my birthday, was Stevie Wonder's Talking Book.
Oh.
And
Can't go wrong
great,
there.
great, oh yeah, great album. One of my favorite songs on, super funky song, great song. Love to sing it, can't really play it because it's more of a keyboard type song, but I love it. It's called Maybe My Baby. Wonderful song off of that record, but it really turned me on to this funky vibe, and I really got into it. So I've liked, and my mom used to sing My Cherie Amour to me when I was a baby. I remember that when I was real little. She would sing that song to me, and my mother is a great singer. And yeah, so I mean, I like all. So Stevie Wonder was the first, but then I would think is when I started getting into rock and roll, I discovered this band called Kiss. And I became a huge Kiss fan. I still have all their records. I've seen them a couple of times. I've seen them with and without makeup. You know, wonderful, wonderful band. They're a bunch of guys, and I mean, they're still
still
doing
kicking.
it after such a long time. Just like the Dead, just like there's a lot of bands that are still, you know, despite everything that happens to them and the bad times that they run through, they still love to come out and perform for their fans. And you know, we're not here making money. We're not looking for money. We're all here just sharing the love of music and the love of bluegrass and the culture. And you know, it's interesting. But I saw a lot of people, different people from all walks of life coming in here today while we were playing. And all those folks, there's a couple of Asian folks that walked in. They're taking pictures. A couple black folks walks in. They're taking pictures. Everybody loves to stop at the general store. And I invite everybody to come out and get you a moon pie, get you a Coca-Cola, get you some of that wonderful banana pudding, or a salad, or even a Reuben sandwich.
And let Bill pour you a cider sandwich.
There you
I'll
go.
pour it, man. That's what I was doing. I slipped away just now because I had a bunch of customers up there begging for cider. So I kind of sensed I need to go pour a little bit.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
by today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We,
I think it's going to become a new thing for me. I'm glad that I can find a music home, someplace that I can come and
Absolutely.
encourage my friends to come and, you know, see us and come play with us if they want to, and just
Absolutely.
I think if you spend any time up here in Salty, you're going to find a very welcoming community.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
what you just said is really what's happening. One person has a friend, another friend comes, another friend comes. Let me tell you about this. And that's what's building the overall. We probably had 30 people at least play with us this summer, if not more. And not everybody's here every week. People come when they can. But a friend comes in, hey, won't you come in? We run into a fellow like yourself that, hey, let's join us. I got a drummer that came by today. Did he?
he
come
came
here?
up jam with us.
Yeah, and he wants to be a little in the background. So you never know.
You don't. It's just it's a beautiful thing, music.
Draws people together.
certainly is. Chris, thank you.
Thank you,
Bill, thank
all.
you.
Thank
Buster,
very much, guys.
Thank you, as always.
Oh,
It's,
yeah. It's my honor. It is an honor.
been a great day. So, Buster, get us out of here.
Rock on. We want to thank our guest, Chris Pyle, for joining us today. For Don and Bill, I'm Buster. This has been the Front Porch Podcast, recorded every Saturday up at the old Saltini Coochie store. We'll see you next week.